Hello, and thanks for that explosive beginning. So, the next step, and this is not to mistake in the title, is actually called From Science to Business. No? Something that we normally do the way around. So, the moderator for this event will be Ms. Angela Senaro, which I am, please come up. And she will then welcome each one of the speakers that will take place in this first round. Angela, the floor is yours.
Thank you, everybody. During this section, we are going to talk about technology transfer, and one of the main topics related to technology transfer. One of the issues related to technology transfer is how adapting the academic research, the research that we made in university and technology centers to the needs of the market. Why it is important? Because in this way, industry can offer better solutions, real solutions to the market, relying on the support of the academic research. For this section, we are going to speak with the 4 experts in technology transfer and IP and intangible assets. So I would like to ask you to join me to Stephen Dunn. Thank you, Stephen. Mr. Andrea Marcello. Ms. Paloma Varela. Ms. Sam West. Thank you. So, Stephen, I think it's better if you sit here, because you will be Andrea here, please. Sam here, and, well, Sam here and Paloma here. Thank you. Just 1 minute that we set up the micros. Thank you. I will give you this. Pass your slides, and after you can give me back. No hace falta, ¿no? Igual lo utilizo esto. Mejor porque este me pesa. No, pero es que llevas la blusa muy abierta y queda más abajo. Well, I will explain briefly how it's going to work this section. Our experts are going to give us a very short presentation, but very interesting, very focused on the subject that I present. And after all the presentations, we are going to debate some questions. And if we have time, we can open the discussion with the public. So I want to introduce Stephen Dunn before. Stephen is the managing director of Starlab Barcelona. Starlab is a company that is completely dedicated to innovation and research in neuroscience and space technologies. Stephen, apart from being the managing director, is in charge of 2 very expert teams on neuroscience research and Earth observations. And so, Stephen, I think she is going to give us a very interesting presentation. So, if you want to start.
¿Digo explotará más?
This session. You working? Yeah? We were just talking about the title of this session this morning, how it's from business to science, and maybe it should be the other way around. I'm actually going to talk about from science to business, which is what we've done, but I think it's interesting to think about it from the other direction, and maybe business should be kind of approaching science and telling us what they need. So, brief introduction. We're a private R&D company, kind of unusual. There's not a lot of companies like Starlab in the world, I don't think. Based in Barcelona, but we also have an office in Oxford, and through a spin-off, we're now in Boston as well. And we've been doing this since 2000, this idea of transforming science into technologies and then into business. And we've always had this mission that these businesses should have a positive impact on society. So the model is basically this. We have two areas of research, neuroscience and space. And the idea is that if we develop something interesting through our kind of basic and applied research, we license it or spin it out and create a business out of that. It's a very nice model, but it didn't start like that. This is something that kind of evolved over a very long time. Our first attempt at kind of spinning something out was actually on the space side. We went to one of the incubators from ESA in Holland to launch this very nice product, which was an instrument we built that could basically tell you a lot about what the sea is doing based on GPS reflection. Very high tech, a lot of science involved, and nobody wanted it at all. We didn't have any success. So we spun it back in. We learned a lot from that experience, and then a little while later we tried again, but on the neuroscience side. So today, rather than telling you how I think this should be done, I'm just going to tell you how we did it with our first successful spin-off, which is neuroelectrics. So this is the timeline from 2005 to 2016. 2005, we had this idea to use arrays of carbon nanotubes as the electrode contact surface for recording brain activity. Okay, very innovative, got a lot of attention at the time. We used FP7 programs to fund the research, did a lot of work with lots of partners, and built a very basic prototype. Around about 2008, we started realizing we could do something with this other than just record brain signals. There's applications of this. So more projects with the European Union on applications of what you can do with brain activity, things like stress monitoring, biometrics, lots of different projects, went on for another few years. And then we were really lucky. We were contacted by Kodak, who came in and said, we want to work with you guys. This is really innovative. We're going to change the world. And as you all know, Kodak is now a cautionary tale on how not to manage disruption. So we kind of backed the wrong horse. Kodak disappeared, and that kind of fell apart. Then around 2012, we had another project where we said, okay, we can look at what's happening in the brain. We wondered, can we modulate it? So we created a new technology, very similar, but this time we're injecting currents into the brain, stimulating the brain. Another European project. And then we started to realize there was a lot of interest in our device that we were using for the research from other research groups. So we started selling it to research groups. And then we kind of realized, okay, this is a market we understand. So we kind of built a business around that. We were selling our device that we had developed for research to other researchers like ourselves. And this kind of got to the point where we thought, okay, this could work. So we created neuroelectrics in 2012. And now today, neuroelectrics is bigger than Starlab. We're selling in over 50 countries. We're still selling to researchers. We're on version number 4 or 5 of the device. This is the latest one. This can stimulate and record all over the brain. Multi-site stimulation is called. Massive amounts of applications. People looking at depression, addiction, stroke rehabilitation, pain management. Huge growing market. We're still kind of selling into research and developing various applications through clinical trials. And we'll see how this goes. So you can see that this was a very long process to kind of get to where we are today. But very interesting. So just to kind of wrap up, and we'll kind of talk about how this should be managed, I guess, in the panel afterwards. But this is not for everybody. This is kind of how we got there. It's a very long path. It has advantages and disadvantages. And maybe just to finish, I've been a fan of Peter Thiel's idea of 0 to 1 for a while. I think we've been doing it before he coined the term. This idea that there's a lot more out there than just more internet technologies. You can start from science and create new technologies, new businesses. So I think that's an advantage. We were bootstrapped by doing it this way, so we're completely independent. We have no VC yet, no external investment. But on the minus side, technology push is a big problem for people like us. We're researchers. We think everything we do is fantastic, and we think the market will agree, and they don't. So you have to be very careful of that. And then the last point, something I call researcher's dilemma. It's very hard for us to sell something until we're sure it works, which means doing lots of research, lots of papers, years and years. And then we're happy it's ready. That doesn't work. You have to start thinking about how you're going to sell it years before you've proved that it worked. And you have to do the two things in parallel. So just something to keep in mind for research groups. So for the future, we still have our model, and now we're back to Earth observation, and we're working on a very nice concept on management of green cities that we actually started a pilot with Barcelona on this. But we've learned our lessons. This time we're talking to the clients now, and we're figuring out what the science can provide for them before we start making the product. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephen. Very interesting presentation. We can discuss some point later.
Yeah.
Our next speaker is Mr. Andrea Marcello. Andrea Marcello is the intellectual property counsel in Philips. I think Philips doesn't need any presentation. It's one of the biggest electronic company, and it's not only in an electronic sector, but it's a multi-sectoral company that brings us main trends in technology and technological products such as CD, DVDs, Blu-ray, this kind of products that everybody knows. Andrea is an expert in intellectual property and evaluation and management of new technologies and innovations. He works in different sectors such as neuroscience, clinical research, and intangible assets from these kind of sectors. So, Andrea, if you want to start.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you, Angela. Thank you, Kim, for inviting me. So I'm going to give a very high-level presentation on, well, not on Philips. You already introduced it very nicely, and I agree, it doesn't need presentation. I would like to focus on my department, which is the IP department, and because this is about open innovation, at least in Philips, open innovation and IP are strictly related, and I will show you how in a second. So, well, first of all, research has been indeed the main growth factor for Philips since the beginning. We just turned 120, celebrated 125 years recently, and for 100 years there has been heavy investments on research, and it continued along. We started with light bulb, and now we just sold our lighting division about 2 weeks ago. This just want to show how research can be brought to an extreme and can completely turn upside down the nature itself of a company. I work for the so-called Philips Intellectual Property Standard, or IPNS. It's our IP department. We in Philips are very proud because we are not the biggest company in the world at all, but not the biggest high-tech company, but we do invest proportionally more than others in IP, where we treat IP not just as protection of our product, but as a business itself. And the whole technology transfer, open innovation processes, at the end of the day, pass through our office, which is located in Eindhoven, in Holland, right next to where the headquarters for research in Philips is. And we are spread kind of all over the world, but in particular, I want to show you this, because this map basically overlaps with a map of research facilities in Philips. So we were always close to our inventors. So we don't just act as a function, but we really participate in the whole innovation process. Well, some facts and figures. We again we have very huge IP portfolio. Only a small part of it is used in a product, but the rest is used for transaction, is used on a defensive way. We are a big applicant at the IPO, and we continue to do so. Okay, how we manage IP in Philips? So IP can come. Is there a pointer? I don't have anything to point. Okay. No, it doesn't matter. Huh? No, because we've pointed to TV and no one will see. So we have IP from, our IP comes from 4 different sources mainly. It's in-house R&D, our researchers' inventions. It comes from collaborative research with universities or other companies. It comes from pure scouting activities, that's what I do mostly. And or it comes from M&A transaction, which that is, if we buy a company, we also acquire the portfolio and we fully integrate it with our portfolio. Some examples of how we collaborate. This was done in particular for our collaboration with university. It's a bit small, I don't know if you can read, but basically our relationship follows two directions, an IP relationship and a pure research relationship. So we can simply, starting from the bottom axis, from the x-axis, we can simply look into a university's portfolio, IP portfolio, and ask if they are willing to sell a certain IP we're interested in, sell or license. We can work with a university, not just looking at their IP, but also in looking for other IP sources, third parties, other universities, other players, still with no research collaboration involved. Or we can go up, we can take a step up and sponsor research at university, where we normally, if we sponsor research, we expect to own the results, or at least to have access rights to the results which are developed within the collaboration. Or there could be, or the form where there is maximum research and IP collaboration is a joint research where both parties invest equally and they share also the results of the collaboration. We don't just look at external IP to bring it in our product. We are also, and this is fully part of how we see open innovation, we also offer a number of services to whoever needs them. That's a picture of a high-tech campus. That's where research and also my department are located. This were originally, I think it's a nice example of open innovation. These were the original Philips research facilities, and they were a completely sealed structure until a few decades ago. And then as production has been outsourced or transferred to other countries, we recycle, let's say, the buildings, the facilities to host companies from the territory, but also other big companies from abroad that find in the high-tech campus a nice environment where it's easy to exchange knowledge and ultimately IP with all the surroundings. So we have even kind of competitors in the campus. Other big players are joining right now as they see the potential in it. For example, Shimano, big bike gear company, is transferring their European headquarters to a high-tech campus in view of the benefits of being in an open innovation environment, if we can call it like that. This is just a summary of some of the collaborations we have. I just wanted to show that there are some universities, but there are also companies. There are service companies that provide services, for example, to find IP that we are based on our need, IP in other companies or other universities that we can acquire or have a license to. So they act as a scout. So collaboration can be in really several different forms. Governments, funded projects. We are very active in funded projects. And summary of open innovation. So, just open innovation is a very broad term, but basically, and it has different sources and different endpoints. We all start from a background level of technology. It can be external in red or it can be internal in blue. And all the research projects that we look at, whether internal or external, they're more than the products that we will eventually sell. So there has to be a funnel all the projects go through. And this funnel, the result of this funnel is that some research projects will simply be discarded. Some other projects will be out-licensed externally. And the same way, there is technology that was not present or we didn't know at the moment in which a project starts, and we find it later or it's developed later and we want to bring it in. And this can become fully part of our product, or it can even start a new business. We even have cases in which we like a project, but it's not picked up by a business. It will not become a project. It will not become a product. We license it outside, or we find someone who wants to develop, and then eventually we can even bring it back into our portfolio. This is maybe, very briefly, maybe we'll talk about this later, but we all know open innovation or technology transfer, especially from university to a company, is very difficult, sometimes frustrating process. It's true. It's frustrating for us as well. We have very requisites, and probably all companies have the same requisite. VIP protection has to be extremely solid, which means the scope of a patent, the claim category has to fit into what we're looking for, the extension, whether it's geographical and in scope, the portfolio size. It's better to have many patents rather than one patent. The detectability, an IP that cannot be detected has absolutely no value. So in these cases, it's better to keep it as a trade secret. This comes a bit from experience. I was also, on the other side, I was working in technology transfer for universities before joining Philips. So I saw the process from both sides. And some things I didn't understand when I was on the university side. I'm understanding them now. I understand why it's so difficult sometimes to transfer technology. What then? Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we see this later. These are requisites that we're looking to bring technology in. This is the last slide. So, yeah, open innovation is fully part of our strategy, like most companies. It basically accelerates the development process. It improves it. It makes it cheaper. All of this basically is supposed to give a unique position and advantage to a company that fully embraces open innovation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Andrea. I would like to highlight it from your presentation, among other very interesting things, how you carry on the open innovation at Philips, the importance of the IP management, of the management of an IP portfolio, and important that it was just one slide. We can talk later to be close to the inventors. This is very important. We can discuss later. Our next speaker is Ms. Palau Mavrela. Is R&D and Engineer Director at Fábrica Nacional de Moneda y Timbre. She has over 25 years of experience in R&D and management of innovative products on security printing. Fábrica Nacional de Moneda y Timbre is an entity that works closely with the private and public sector and invests a lot of effort on new technology for security products. So, Paloma, when you want to start, please. Thank you.
Thank you to you. Thank you very much to Kim for inviting FNMT to be present in this conference. The idea is to present the Fábrica Nacional de Moneda y Timbre Real Casa de la Moneda, which is really a long name, and we just say FNMT. It's important because this name came when in the 19th century the mint and the stamp printing was merged, and then it was no innovation and they decided just to add the names to the name of the company. Who we are? We are a state... No. We are a state-owned... No. Sorry. Maybe like this? No. A ver, espérate que me quite las gafas. A ver, yeah. We are a state-owned company, I think it's okay, no? We belong to the Ministry of the Treasury and Public Administration. And we have two manufacturing sites. One of them is located in Burgos, in north of Spain, and where we are producing security paper. And the main one is located in Madrid, in the center of Madrid. It's not the best place for a manufacturing site, but it is what it is. Even 2 years ago, we celebrated the 50th anniversary of the building, where we are producing a lot of products. We have a portfolio of more than 1,000 products, and you will wonder what we are producing. And there is something which is interesting for you to remember in the end. Place, yeah. We are manufacturing products that will accompany you during all your life. When we are born, our yeah. When sorry, it's. So someone has to register that we exist in the civil register. We are producing the sheets for the books of the civil register. Then you need an identity. We are producing ID cards for the Spanish police to produce your document. When you start working, you receive money. We print banknotes. We mint coins. You get a driving license, which is also produced in our company. In the past, we used to send write letters, and use postal stamps. We are also producing that. You play lottery, and then it's something that we are producing. Even you buy a house, you go to the notary to sign some contract where the paper is produced by us. So it's something that for you to think that we are not really selling consuming products, but we are the manufacturing products that will go with you along your life. For that, we are also active in R&D and innovation. As I mentioned, we have 2 sites, and then we have central R&D department, but also different teams in the engineering, in the production departments, that are also doing R&D and innovation. In the end, it's a teamwork, because we will have expert and people distributed along all the departments. And what we do, we try to improve paper, to add security features to the paper. We improve our printed products. We also started with the development of security features, because in the past we just tried to deliver products, but not thinking on the origin of what we were including in these products. We are also developing equipment to verify the security features, to verify the products, to measure and to do quality control, because in the end there are not so many companies, for example in Spain, who is producing security printed products. There are 2-3 companies, so it's not an interesting market for a company which develops equipment or some other products. And we are also active in the digital world. We are issuing the digital certificates which you use to sign when you are interacting with the administration through the internet, for example, and we have developed operating systems for the chips that we have in our identification documents. How we do that? We really have decided to have a cooperative model. We work with research centers, technological centers, with universities, even with private companies. We have experts in different technologies in our company, but it is not possible to have experts in all the technologies that could be useful for us and for our products. That is why we have chosen this model. In fact, we have an agreement signed with the CSIC in Spain, and we are always signing agreements with different research centers as soon as we find something which is interesting for both parts. So just some words on how is the process from the ideas to the products. It's a long process. The idea comes from our customer who is asking us for something special, or in some occasions is coming from the research centers that they find that they have something which could be interesting for any of our products. We establish first contacts. For us, it's really important the signature of a non-disclosure agreement. It's something that takes time in some occasions, but we are in a business that is very conservative, and if you have something which is different, it will give you a leading position, and we don't want everybody to know it. After this sorry, this signature. We start with the studies to see if it is really just an idea which is very interesting, but thank you very much. We are not interested in going ahead with that. But if there is technical studies, feasibility, economical, and so on, then we will find an agreement and start the project. It's important that the project management is always done by FNMT. It's we want to lead the project and to define what we can do. And at the end of the project, we may have a prototype or final product, depending on what we are doing. Those are some examples of things that, okay, for us have been innovation. In the bottom part, you will see a commemorative coin which is printed. So we are adding printing to the minting. It's something which has been done also in some other countries, but it's something that nobody would expect in the past. Why to print any coin? To add color is an easy way to do that. We have also, I don't know if you have seen the market in some commemorative coins, what we call the Quadruple latent image. It's patent of FNMT where we have in a small area, which could be a circle of 1 centimeter, 4 hidden images. When you see, you look at the coin, you see something mixed. But as soon as you start to tilt, at each 90 degrees, you will see a different image. So we have 4 images in one single piece. And it's something that is a result of innovation in FNMT. We have also the DNI 3.0, which was issued together with the new passport last year, which are a result of innovation, R&D and innovation, because it's something which is curious. We thought that it was innovation, because for us, the work that we have done was I could say, I wouldn't say a state of the art, but it was to improve what we have seen. But we have 35 both projects and have been classified as R&D projects. So for us it's interesting, something that in some cases, as we know the technologies we are using, we understand that something is just innovation. But when it's seen from another angle, from people who are not really experts in our business, they see and they understand that what we are doing is R&D. And for us, it's really quite interesting because you never know where is the limit between R&D and innovation. And just to finish, I don't know if it is possible to have a short video that the people of R&D has done. That has no sound. It's subtitles in English, yes, so at least this is a short video.
Permíteme que te lo demuestre. En este vídeo para la casa. Trabajamos en proyectos externos con entidades como el Banco Central Europeo, la Policía Nacional, el CSIC, universidades y otros centros de investigación.
Creamos nuevos productos y mejoramos los existentes.
Creamos e integramos nuevas características de seguridad. Diseñamos equipos de verificación y medida. Desarrollamos aplicaciones software que aportan valor a nuestros productos.
Hacemos un estrecho seguimiento de las nuevas tecnologías.
Colaboramos con productores, suministradores y empresas integradoras.
Nuestro objetivo es seguir innovando, pero esto no sería posible si no hubiera una colaboración de todos los trabajadores de esta empresa. El futuro...
Thank you. Thank you very much, Paloma. Very interesting. I think you stated a lot of interesting things. Well, the first very interesting thing is that Fábrica Nacional de Moneda y Timbre is a very innovative company. even if it doesn't seem so at the beginning, but it's a very innovative company. And moreover, you stated something that sometimes we don't remember, that is there is a difference between R&D and innovation. It's not the same. Well, our next speaker, the last speaker is Sam West, is the manager of the ESA Technology Broker Network project. Well, he's working at Varhart, that is a company that offers innovation services and try to help to create innovative products in different sectors. As I said, Sam is the manager of this project. This project is a project that aims to coordinate all the network of technology brokers from ESA, from European Space Agency. So it's a very important project that is going to help all Europe to create and to boost their innovative products. The main aim of the project is to help to transfer technology from space technologies to other sectors for other applications. So Sam, whenever you want, you can start.
Thank you very much, Angela. And thank you very much for inviting me here, because it's a real pleasure to represent the European Space Agency here, but also to represent the company Verhaert. In the company Verhaert, I'm managing all the technology transfer projects. And in, as you say, for the European Space Agency, I'm managing the whole network. But I'll talk about that later in a minute. Because I first wanted to tackle the question you asked me, what do you see as the challenge in technology transfer from business to science? And when I was lately in London and taking the subway, I saw a sign there which, according to me, is actually really summarizing the whole challenge that we've got in technology transfer. And this is mind the gap. And why do I think there is a gap? The gap also will always exist. I mean, don't turn researchers into entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs into researchers. I mean, this has probably been said in many other presentations earlier and when you talk about technology transfer. So there is a gap, and mind that gap, but find and think about the ways how to bridge that gap, how to talk about that gap and to connect the worlds, because the worlds need to be connected. And this is about respecting the gap and thinking about how to manage this. So for me, this is actually summarizing the whole challenge, because there are so many different ways of doing technology transfer, but this one, minding the gap, for me is always relevant. Now, who are we as Verhaert? And I see there is something wrong with the fonts, so I expect some slides that really will be messed up now coming further. But anyhow, as a company, Verhaert, we're a company with 4 offices, 2 in Belgium, 1 in Portugal, 1 in the Netherlands, close to ESTIC, close to the European Space Agency. We're about 125 people, and actually the core of our company is to manage innovation projects. We help customers to innovate. And this we do always with what we call the sweet spot in mind, technology in mind, people in mind, and business viability in mind. This is always important, whatever technology project that we do, whatever innovation project that we do. Now, to give you a couple of ideas, and the slide is actually too crowded and the images are too small, but we are into space, we're into onboard sensors, we're into smart city and homes, we're into fast mover consuming goods. AB InBev, Stella Artois is one of our customers, Coca-Cola is one of our customers. So you see, we're in small and medium-sized companies, we're in medical companies, we're in clean tech, we're in fast move into the industry. And this is also something what we find very important as a company, is to be running innovation projects for all those different type of industries. Because we believe that our strength comes from working with those industries and actually bridging gaps between industries. So as a company, we exist more than 50 years. And we have been doing this type of innovation projects over the last 50 years. We've been running a space division for 10, 15 years that we actually sold off again because we wanted to concentrate on innovation on Earth. Now, how do we do this? And this is for us an integrated product innovation process. You see that we start from the fuzzy front end, where we do the ideation, where we do the business concepts, where we do the type of consultancy with customers. And this we do with a technical mindset, and this we do with a human and business side mindset. So if you see in this arrow, you've got the technical side and you've got the more people side, always user-oriented, starting from the fuzzy front end into the new product development, into the new product introduction. So we try to manage the whole chain, or at least support our customers when they ever have a need to support a customer in their innovation challenges. And you see that every company has different type of innovation challenges. Why? Because they have their own strengths. I mean, a company with much more market knowledge, they have need for technical advice, they need technology experts. We've got companies very technology-oriented, and then actually we need to bring in the marketing people, or we need to bring in the user type of centered people. Now, first, this process from fuzzy front-end to product introduction is very important, because this is also the model that we apply into technology transfer. And our technology transfer process is actually going in different directions. And you see, traditionally, you've got a technology push direction, or you've got a technology pull direction. This is what is being commonly been discussed. What we like to add to this is actually the product innovation. Because why do you want to do technology transfer? You don't want to do technology transfer. Business doesn't want technology transfer. Business wants to do innovation. And they need the technology to support that innovation. So actually, we believe that you need to look at the innovation process. And inside the innovation process, technology is key. Technology is core to get that innovation that is long-lasting. So technology transfer is needed. When talking to businesses, and specifically when managing, and I'll come back to that in a couple of slides, when managing a network of technology transfer professionals, you see that the challenge is to talk about technology transfer with business. Because the business, they don't want to talk with technology transfer. Maybe if you find an R&D manager or a technology transfer officer in a company, they want to talk technology transfer. But talk with the business people, they need an innovation. They need a next step to be able to deliver a product which is profitable. So technology push, technology pull is there, is important as sources of information, but I think we'd like to aim more on the innovation process and actually add technology transfer to that. So this was the part about the Verhaert as a company, how we do innovation, how we do technology transfer. Aside from this, or aside I should not say, because this is actually the biggest part of my time that I'm spending, is actually we're managing this ASA technology transfer network. And actually this image is simplifying what we're doing. We try to get all the knowledge and know-how that is inside those space companies. And we try to find benefits. We try to find companies that are interested in this, and the other way around. And also here, mind the gap is important. Because maybe we talk about space technology companies, but the mindset there, the way of working, the way of doing projects is completely different than in a startup company or than in this industrial company. So many times we find ourselves as translating, as finding the go-between between the two different industries and facilitating the whole process so that people can talk with each other and that they can do the technology transfer that they really would like to do. Now, we do this as a part of the Technology Transfer Program Office in ESA. Technology Transfer Program Office actually has 4 main blocks. This is actually managing the ESA patent portfolio. This is the broker network of 15 brokers that we're managing. This is also the business incubation centers that the various different countries have actually to incubate startup ideas based on space technology or incorporating space know-how. And this is also managing an ambassador platform, which is more going to the use of satellite data and the application of satellite data. Now, this is a network across Europe. As Verhaert, we are actually active in Belgium and the Netherlands as a local broker. We're managing the whole network. And as you see, also indicated Kim, because Kim is actually the broker for Spain. Now, how do we do this? When I say bridging the gap, I believe that you need to do this with some tools. And these are some tools, some methods that we're using. We do opportunity scans, talking with people, where are the opportunities to transfer technology? We do need definition, because if we believe a lot, you need to start innovating from technology needs. but how to write a technology need, how to describe a need in a way that a scientist can answer the need from business, or the other way around, because we do needs in the two directions. I will not go through all the different elements, but I think feasibility studies and demonstrator studies are a key element in doing technology transfers. Because what is feasibility studies? These are actually small, light studies of about 15 days, to actually see what is the feasibility of transferring know-how between the two directions. So in a very short time, you can investigate quite a lot and you can get a good feel on how easy it would be to translate this. This is not the type of feasibility studies lasting for 6 months or a year, which many people like to do. This is the short feasibility to get a feel. Would it be possible? Yes, okay, we put this together. Because when we talk, for instance, space industry and non-space industry, the question is always who will invest in this. Space technology, space companies have their core focus, have their business, and they would like to spin off technology if it comes easy. So just take the space technology and use it. Now, you can imagine that that is in very seldom cases really the case that you can take the technology and apply it somewhere else. So you need to look into feasibility, how it would be transferred. And the other way around is business says, yes, of course, we would like to use space technology, but make sure it's ready that we can immediately implement it. So actually, by doing a feasibility study, you can bring those two parts more together and see how feasible it would be, what the cost will be to develop, and so on. Demonstrator studies is actually one step further, and again, this also we consider a small type of projects. Typically in NISA, these are 50K projects, and so for 50K, entrepreneurs or space companies, they can build a demonstrator to demonstrate that technology could be transferred. So these we consider as the small tools where we need a lot of to actually build on the potential that is there with space technology. And I can imagine that this also is valid for technology transfer from universities, from research centers, because there is also a gap to bridge. There is also two different worlds to be linked, and it's also be working together. Because what I see, the technology transfers that really worked and that are really successful are actually the cases where people are talking together, are not the cases where technology has been listed in databases and descriptions have been done on long papers. It's putting the people together, and then you get a technology transfer. So that's what we do in Verhaard, doing innovation. That's what we try to do also with the ESA Technology Transfer Network, to get actually your business off the ground. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sam. It was very interesting. I think you stated something very related to what we already said, but very clear that business environment is not looking for technology transfer, it's looking for innovation. If you agree, I would like to talk about some questions with you. The first is the title of this section. The title of this section is From Business to Science, not From Science to Business. So we are always used to talk about how university research, technology center, public research can be closer to the business, can understand the needs of the business, of the industry. What I would like to ask you, if you think that the business environment is able to transmit their needs to the research, to academics. They are communicating well what the industry need. I don't know who want to start. If you,
I can start. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Steven.
So, in my personal experience, I've worked mostly through European research projects with universities. So I've kind of seen how they approach it, and we've been in discussions with university tech transfer units, things like that. I think really the issue is that the people who do the research, there are different ways you can do tech transfer. Brokerage is one way, but the other way is obviously that the researchers themselves are interested in and create a spin-off. And this is the one that I think we fail on most in Europe. I think the other version works quite well in Europe. But what I see, we do a lot of very nice projects with a lot of very, very talented researchers, and it never occurs to them to create a spin-off. It never occurs that they could, that they never approach their tech tech transfer unit to say, I'd like to take this out. They wait for somebody to approach them. So I think that's kind of where Europe falls behind in that type of tech transfer, that there's a lack of interest or lack of belief in the researchers that they could potentially do it themselves. So I think the other one is something Europe does quite well. The industrial IP management, the brokerage that you guys do, Sam. But I think where we're kind of behind, the US particularly, is in talking to the researchers themselves and trying to motivate them to take the technology and approach the business. They never receive any input from the business side. They're not aware of it. They don't think about it. For them, it doesn't exist. So when we ask, do they communicate well? I don't think they communicate at all to those researchers. It doesn't reach them. They move in different worlds. They don't think of themselves as somebody who could potentially move in that world. So I'm talking about, hardcore researchers in neuroscience and in some of the space projects we do. And maybe it doesn't apply to some of the more applied areas, but from what I've seen, this is the main problem. There's no communication from business to those researchers.
I don't know if someone else wants to add something about this issue stated by Stephen.
I'd like to add to that in a sense that I think indeed they don't comment, but they don't communicate, because they don't communicate technologies. They communicate innovation, I've been saying before. And if I could talk from some experience, I've been training some researchers to become startups, and they love the training. And after the training, most of them say, well, we're good to know, so now we can talk the language. But we'd rather go back to our research. I'm not saying this is general, but I think we have to see where are the entrepreneurs, and those people we need to find, and those people we need to nourish, we need to fund them, we need to make sure that those researchers with entrepreneurial spirit really take it into the business. And how do they communicate to business then? They should talk themselves. Because what I think, and I'm just looking back to innovation projects, the knowledge will not, the experience will not come to you. You need to go out yourself. If you want to develop a business, you ask your users. If you want to develop a startup, you ask your users. And then, of course, the business is not coming to the technology because they don't know what would be possible. So that's a bit my point of view.
I don't know if someone else wants to add something. Paloma, I have to share with you the...
It's true that in our case, there is the researchers don't really know what we need. So for us, in some occasions, it's important what we have done in the case of CSIC in Spain, the network of research centers, is to talk with the responsibles of the technology transfer to explain them which are our interests, which things we could be interested in, and then they have gone to the different centers thinking, okay, the FNMT is interested in this, do you have something? And in such a case, it has worked. Then, okay, it's not always that we have had a project, but it was the only way, because universities, they just think, as you say, moneda y timbre, so I have nothing interesting for a coin or for a stamp or whatever. And then we have tried in some occasions. The point is that we cannot open a forum to inform all the universities, because we could die of success, everybody coming to us with some proposals that you never know if they are really real proposals for us. So that's how it works.
Thank you. Andrea?
Yeah, at least for a company like Philips, there is another problem. Well, the need is central. It was also in one of my slides. So the need is essential to drive innovation and R&D, but it's a bit tricky to communicate the needs externally, because you are also disclosing some secrets of your company. So if you say, well, I want to go into field A, you're also communicating to a market that Philips is entering a new market, and competitors can act accordingly. So there is a bit of balance between what the business can communicate. But even internally, I agree, it's not always easy to even internally, not all researchers know exactly what the business wants. Sometimes this can be positive, because it leaves a bit more freedom to the researchers, and collateral projects or spontaneous projects would never be possible. On the other hand, it is difficult for researchers to know. As I showed in one slide, even internally, there are projects that are never picked up by the business, even within the same company, because the need of the business does not correspond to the project. But that's what creates diversity at the end. You know, sometimes it goes wrong 9 times out of 10, but 10th time you create a brand new product or a brand new technology that no one expected.
Okay, thank you, Andrea. I just want to add just something related to this topic about best practices that is carried on in one of European university. It's related to the creation of spin-off and try to understand how a spin-off have to work properly to give an innovative product, not a technology transfer. They create a program where technology creators, technology researchers that want to transfer the technology through a spin-off, through the creation of a technology-based company, are related with the entrepreneurial students in entrepreneurship, in order to set up the best way to transfer the technology through a spin-off to the market. So this program is very interesting for both parts and help technology researchers to understand how the business works. That sometimes it is not so easy to understand from researchers. So it's just an experience that I want to share with you. Another things that I want to discuss is about, okay, we are talking about technology transfer, to transfer our technologies, to acquire technology from a third party, in your case, Palau, of course, and from Startup too. But I want to know if you are used to transfer your technology to third party and how it works, this process. I don't know, Andrea, if you want to start, or Stephen?
Yeah, I can start again.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So we're maybe a little bit unusual again in that we do our own research and we develop our own products, but we also do act as the external researchers for people looking to bring in technology for their innovation processes. So we're approached by industry who are interested in some of the things we're doing, and they ask us to develop projects. And I would say every single time we've done this has had a different model in terms of how we do it. Sometimes it's paid research, consultancy. Sometimes they're licensing. Sometimes they want to own the IP at the end. So it tends to be case by case. But it's very varied for us. Sorry, what was the specific question again?
I'm sorry. We were talking about a technology transfer, a model of our internal R&D and external R&D, and how it works.
Yeah.
It was correct. You were going.
In our case, it depends, case by case.
Okay, it's just case by case. There is no rule for you. And in your case, Andrea,
we have actually a structured process for transferring, for licensing out basically, or transferring to transfer our technology. There is a statistic which is about 5 to 10% of patents in a company's portfolio are actually in use, and the rest are not, so they are a cost, basically. This is part of the process. It is normal. Again, you need to give some freedom to create, to the researchers, if you want to obtain something good. But what to do with all the leftovers, which are a cost, because we have to pay maintenance fee every year. It's my same department. We have some people dedicated to do the so-called mining within our portfolio, find all patents or technologies that are not used and that can be interested, or even patents which are in use but that can be applied to a different field we are not active in. And we do exactly what the university TOs do. We create a business case, we prepare some slides, we prepare a pitch, and we try to contact other companies that could be interested in the technology. Could be even competitors sometimes, or sort of competitors. It could be, the result could be a spin-out, it could be the inventors of the technology we want to divest. They want to pick it up and create a spin-off. That happens even within Philips. So different possibilities, but it's definitely it's a very good way to increase the cost, also to create more collaboration and more opportunities, because again, you can create a spin-off and you can pick it up again in 10 years. It's not economically sound completely, but it is sometimes it's the only way, it's the best way to create new market for a company.
Okay, thank you. I just want to ask you just a very small question for you. It's are you used to go through cross innovation? I mean, you just stated that you are used to transfer technology even to your potential competitors or something related to your business. But you used to try to understand if the technologies that you want to divest or to transfer, in this case, can be applied to other sectors or try to transfer to other sectors. Are you used to? Yeah.
Yeah. We never cannot help directly the competitor, of course. Although, for example, yeah, it's a bit blurry. I mean, the CD, DVDs, we and Sony own most of the patents, but also the other companies do. At the end of the day, what has been decided is to put everything together and basically be all collaborate or share all the revenues, even with strong competitors. So it is a possibility, but of course the idea is to go to a competitor but licensed to a completely different field.
Okay, thank you. Paloma, sorry, we have to share.
Okay, in our case, we have several examples. It's true that we have had technology transfer from other companies to us for our new products, but we have had some cases when developing verification and measuring equipment, because our experts do the development, but we are not selling those equipment. So what we have done is, on some occasions, to find companies who are producing the equipment. We have done the technology transfer. They are selling the equipment all around this market, and it has been. We have found that it's a quite interesting model for us. And now we are in a process of starting to thinking about new technology transfers, because in the case of our paper mill, we have different patents of security products that could be useful for security paper, but also for other markets. And the problem that we have is the security printing is really a very conservative market. Central banks don't want to have a new security feature if there is not another one who has already implemented. So it's really complex to find someone to be the first. And as we have invested a lot in patents, in projects, we are thinking now of how to get a return of our investment doing that. But we have not already succeeded on that.
Thank you, Paloma. I don't know, Sam, if you want to add something about some experience you have during accompanying
ourselves, and we don't develop technology. We do develop technology, but we develop it for our customers. So IP is always for our customers. Now, what we've been doing is supporting customers that say, we've got this great technology, we've got this great thing that we believe we can do something more with. And then we do typically what we call a differentiation study, where we actually look into the possibilities of the technology, but also the technology in their business environment and into their customer environments. And we actually start a process of generating ideas, a little bit like, I think, like also what Philips is doing, generating ideas, generating business case, and seeing if with that business case, with that business ID, that can be either internally be developed as a new business or either sold to other businesses. So this is something that we do as exercises for companies, but indeed ourselves we don't license technology outside because we don't have to.
Thank you, Sam. Just to finish, just because it is of my interest and I think of interest of all the public here, we talk about cross innovation to transfer technology to other sectors that are not the main ones that we are working in. How do you do this process? Because I repeat, we are in a session of business to science, so you have to test again your technology. You have to assure that the new applications that you found can work. So I don't know. In this case, if you rely on your own resources or you go back to external research resources, to university, to other centers, to an external expert. I don't know, Stephen, in your case, if you...
Yeah, I don't think it really applies to
No,
us.
in your case, maybe not, but I don't know, if you think that some of your technology could be applied outside.
So when it does happen for us, it's when we're approached by somebody. For example, we work with people in the cosmetic industry now, with football teams, things you wouldn't expect for what we do.
Okay.
And they approach us with some notion that they want to do something in the area of neuroscience. And then we kind of figure it out together. And then we do typically a pilot study for them. We do the research. We might share the cost, or they might pay
you
for it.
share with the lead.
And then at the end, maybe we develop something together. But typically, they would find us. They would see us presenting somewhere, and somebody in their innovation department would say, okay, that could be interesting for us. We don't really kind of shop it around and look for other industries. Not yet, anyway. Maybe when we're a little bit bigger, we might have the time to
in
do
the
that.
next future, maybe. Thank you. Andrea, you...
Yeah. It really is on a case by case, but very similar to what Stephen said. It works better when someone else is asking directly for the technology. We try not to invest. Normally, if it's technology that's already been abandoned and we're just looking for a licensee or buyer, we try not to invest any more money, but we are willing to provide the technical team as a service. So as part of the technology transfer process, we don't just sell you the patents, we also give you the inventors for a period of time to develop the technology. Because normally the technology is not ready, and as we look for technology as close to the market as possible, so are our potential licenses. So we do help to do some further development. It's part of a negotiation, though.
Okay, with your own resources, if you don't ask to other research centers to help.
We do, but normally it's a possibility. But yeah, someone has to pay for it. So research centers normally don't. They also work in the service. We don't want to invest for something that we already have abandoned, and we're not sure we will manage to make it profitable again. So it depends.
Depends. Okay, Palau, I don't know if you want to share some thoughts.
Okay. In our case, it's true that. When we are doing some projects, it's because we need something that is a technology that we don't have in-house. So what we try to do is to work with research centers. They provide us the product, which could be a pigment, which could be something that we will then try to do the work inside to introduce in our products. But we always need external help because we don't have a chemical plant, we don't have a lot of things. We just are printing words and paper mills, so we need external help for that.
Okay, thank you, Paloma.
And I think if you talk about the ESA broker network, this is actually the core of our activity. We try to find people externally as much as possible to help customers. However, if I look inside our company Verhaard, there we try to get as much as possible different experts in the company, because we believe by putting the people quickly around the table, we have a principle to fail fast. So we try to de-risk immediately. So if we want to do tests, I mean, we want to get the people to do some tests. But of course, there also it depends on the topic, because we also don't have chemical experts. So then we hire them in, we bring those people around the table.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much to everybody. I want to open the discussion to the public. I don't know if someone in the public want to ask something or want to participate in the debate with some opinions, some highlights. Okay. In any case, we have a coffee break. We can talk in the coffee break later. So I want to, first of all, thank you, all the 4 experts here, for your nice and very interesting presentation, for your opinions, that it's very important for us. And I want to thank you, the participant, the public, and thank you. And I I think I have to give the word to Mr. Eri Vasquez. Thank you.